And the update comes via our friend Larry Levine, who has a source close to the investigation. Larry is a former federal prisoner himself who served time at 11 institutions across 5 states and is founder and director of Wall Street Prison Consultants. He advises people who are about to face the same plight, and he joins me now live. Okay, Larry, spill the tea. What are you hearing about Diddy's eating?
Well, I got an inside source there at MDC, and if they knew who it was, they'd really plot. When people go into custody, they have anxiety, they're depressed, a lot of things go through their mind. And one of the things they do is they stop eating. They lose a lot of weight. Look at somebody coming out of prison. They look like a POW or something, but they've been through the ringer. Now, there's a collateral issue that may be here. Look what happened to Jeff Epstein. I got people every day saying, you think they're going to Epstein him? And I go, well, I really don't know. But they can't have this guy do a suicide. It would look kind of funny. Now, imagine if somebody got to one of the correctional officers, and this could happen. They don't make a lot of money. And there's people out there that he has things on that do have a substantial amount of money. Imagine if someone paid someone off on the inside to actually poison his food, give him a heart attack, and he dies. And no one would really think anything of it. So that may be one of the reasons he's not eating. He's really, really paranoid. He's really, really scared. He doesn't know what to think. He doesn't know who to trust or what to believe. Then he had a religious visit also, and a dietitian come talk to him. Now, there's a possibility that he wants to go on a kosher diet. It's prepared a little bit differently. It's like it's a religious diet. That could be another aspect as well. But I remember when I first went into custody at MDC Los Angeles, and I didn't eat for a couple days, but this guy's been there about a week now. So he should be in a routine. And there's just so much, Ashleigh, there is so much disinformation that comes out. Like he has to get up at 6 o'clock to make his bed and mop his cell. That's for a regular housing unit at MDC. He's not getting out of the shoe. He doesn't have to make his bed, really. He's probably laying in bed all day long, just stewing and thinking. So the situation and the conditions for him are completely different than it would be for a regular inmate. So
talk to me, Larry, about talk to me about the potential that this could be a protest, because Ghislaine Maxwell famously said some pretty strident things about the MDC Brooklyn lockup and the food and how terrible it was, and that she had been losing a ton of weight. Is it possible this is a protest?
Well, at several BOP institutions, Federal Bureau of Prisons institutions across the country, there's food strikes going on where people are refusing to eat because of the quality of the food and the way they're being treated. And that could have carried over to MDC. But on the other hand, he's sitting in the shoe. How did he hear about it? Unless he bought the little overpriced Sony Walkman radio. I bet they let him have that. Or maybe he talked to somebody on the phone on a limited call that told him, yeah, they're having a hunger strike, and he's joining in that. Remember, the food is bland. The food is a lot of carbohydrates. It's kind of it fills you up, but you get sick eating it. I mean, there's mold in a lot of that food. The food coming to him is cold. It's not coming to him warm like it would be in a regular housing unit, because they feed the people in the shoe last. Maybe he got sick from the food. That's another possibility. I mean, they may actually be moving him. Maybe he's concerned and his lawyer's concerned, as I said,
do you know,
about
Larry, if he's
somebody
still on
killing him.
suicide watch? Is he still on suicide watch?
He's still on suicide watch. The shrink is coming to see him several times a day. And at MDC, they hand out psych meds like they're handing out M&Ms. So I don't know if he's taking them, but they're certainly available to him. I took them in MDC one time because I was having problems sleeping. And after I took it one time, you play a lot of chess in there, you do a lot of reading. I wasn't able to engage anybody. I couldn't think. I turned into a zombie, and after taking it one time, I stopped taking them.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.